Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chocolate Hazelnut Podcast. I'm Chocolate,
I'm Hazelnut.
and this is our show. Don't forget to
Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also, for those who are our listeners, we're on other streaming platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're probably there. So be sure to check out our content on other streaming devices. So we're not only on YouTube.
All right. And today we have an interesting one coming to you. So I'm going to let Chocolate explain it to you. All right. Thank you for introducing me. All right. Appreciate you, bro. All right. So today we're going to be watching a video by this young lady from off of Instagram, and she has a very interesting take. Now, for all you guys that are going to be rubbed the right way, I can't wait to see your faces. I ain't even gonna lie. How about you, Hazelnut?
Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting one.
I know they probably said that chocolate is something else today. I know. I forgot to take my sip of water. All right, let's get this party started. Let's get the party started. I got the party started.
Were not entitled to that man. Were you there when he had to stay up all night writing up that business plan about a business idea that nobody believed in him about? Not even the bankers? No, you were not there. Not even if he marries you. You were not there for the come up, sweetheart. You did not put in that work that man had to put in to be able to have a lifestyle that he has. You didn't.
So,
Start us off. Let's go.
so I agree and disagree,
All right.
and I know you're probably shocked on that one
Actually, I'm not, but go ahead.
because it depends on what she's talking about. I need a little bit more background, but if she's been there from the beginning holding him down, say he started the business and she was working, heading the household with the finances, or even he's working another job, he's coming up in the business, she's taking care of the kids, she's keeping the house clean. If she may even be having another job, but she may be doing all of this while he's pulling these long hours, so she sacrifices her time. Now, if it doesn't work out and it's a divorce, and I'm talking strictly marriage, not dating.
Uh-huh. I mean, obviously,
She's
because in this
entitled.
situation, you're not getting nothing as a girlfriend.
She's entitled to a percent. Is it 50%? You know I don't agree with that, but she agrees to a percent. If we put it down to $1 per hour, I believe it's a percent. What that percent is, it depends on how long she did it for, what she did. They had kids. Uh, was she supporting him during this time, or long as she was there doing her job? Now, if she was out having a party, living the city girl lifestyle, cheating and all that other good stuff while he's pulling long hours, then no, not one penny.
All right. So I will mostly agree with what you said. Um, like you just said, like it for me, it depends on how much time they both invested because regardless of whether it's his business or not, even her business, because there's plenty of women who have businesses nowadays, but regardless of which spouse it is that started the business, in the initial startup phase there are a lot of sacrifices that must be had by both people. So within that marriage, if the husband is putting in those long hours. He's bringing work home. He's gone on the weekends. And the wife is like taking care of the kids, hustling, bustling back and forth to soccer practice, basketball practice, all that stuff, and then on top of all of that, making sure that, her husband is, as good as he can be while trying to, focus on the business because you realize when men put a lot of energy and focus into something, and women too, but we're going with men here, that's the scenario. When they put a lot of their focus and energy into something, other things in other areas of their life are sacrificed. So that means that she may not be getting as much attention as he used to give her or that she feels that she deserves. That means the kids may not get enough of his time. That means that he's not home as often. So many other things is a cascade effect. So depending on the situation, like if she was there from day one, like, and when you started that business and she stood by your side, helped you get there, even if it wasn't necessarily in the business itself, but she held down the fort while, the business was being built, I feel like she's just as entitled because, like, literally, if you have a family at home and you are basically neglecting them to build a business, like, I mean, your family can't function without somebody having to sacrifice to make that happen.
So my thing is that sacrifices for the betterment of the family.
That's
Even
fine, but again,
there's sacrifices for the betterment of the family, so that he because it's a man in this scenario, to improve their overall living situation, to improve their what's it
I
called,
have a I have a
to
counter
improve
argument real quick
to
though.
improve their lifestyle over time, over the long run, by sacrificing the short term while he's moving up and helping them, so that they have the ability to get what they want when they want it without having to worry about that struggle, that grind. He could stay at the lower level and do the bare minimum and stay making in the lower area, and they may be fine, but he's trying to put it so that they can afford to travel on the holidays or the summer or a couple times a year, whether it's in country, out of country, so that he can give them the finest things that you can possibly get by putting in that work. That is the goal, so that you don't have to have a struggle.
So my counter argument to that, first of all, is why is it that these people are having to struggle? What if it's like a family who's perfectly fine, functioning as they are? Like maybe like the husband works in corporate America, maybe he's already got some other type of career, the wife is working, do whatever the business is not necessarily to put them in a better place, more so than the fact of like that's just something that wants to be done. So
So
why then is it because and what I'm saying is that literally when people create a business, like the vast majority of businesses are you still have to get up and go work them every day. Like it's not like you're just sleeping and making money at night. The vast majority of businesses that people start, right? So you're trading one job for another job. So necessarily you're not bringing your family up, so to speak, depending on where you are, because I get what you're saying, like if they're down in the slumps, or
not
maybe they're
even,
not making a lot of money and they're trying to better themselves or
but
do something different. But there are a lot of situations where the said family are at a stable place and they're at a good point in their lives, and it's simply a career change or a
well,
passion that wants to be pursued.
that wasn't the only thing that she talked about. She said moving up in the career as well. So,
Well, she said you didn't move up the ladder with him, but I think what the
but she
lady
was
was
talking
saying
about
in her
also.
video is for people, specifically women, who meet a man who already has a job or has a business that's been established long before her. She comes in,
But
and at the point of them even being together, married, and now they're divorcing, now she wants half of all of his
yeah,
assets.
in that case, she
In
don't
that
deserve anything.
case, I don't.
If you already met it and he hasn't and he's working, and you're just coming in, if he, that's just why if I was that person in that scenario, you get a prenup prior to marriage,
I mean, that's fair,
and you
and
have it where you have your lawyer look over it and you have their lawyer look over it. That way, if something does come up, they can not say they signed it under duress, that they didn't have a chance to review it, that everybody took the steps and that you're protected. I
like
would,
Dr. Dre's wife,
well, that's a whole,
ex-wife.
that's a, that's, that's a whole nother scenario, because anyway, you want to protect your assets, man or woman. Do you have anything you'd like to add today, Hazelnut?
Yeah, so with protecting your assets, I definitely agree. If you are a person that has a lot of things that you feel like should be protected, um, a prenup, I feel like personally there's nothing wrong with it. And there's this whole debate about how if you get accustomed to a certain lifestyle, so say that a woman meets a guy, she's only used to like being able to live off of $40,000 a year, so she's lived a $40,000 a year lifestyle, and she meets a man who makes $100,000 a year, and he's gotten her accustomed to his type of lifestyle. They get married, and now they're at a divorce kind of point, and she's like, "Well, I've gotten accustomed to this, so you owe me spousal support, you owe me alimony. The child support needs to be this much because the child is used to this, yada yada yada." Um, Quite honestly, I feel like that is rubbish in a way. Um, I can understand that you want your child to continue to live that lifestyle and even yourself. But when if you didn't work hard to get there, that's not anything that I feel like you're necessarily entitled to. You benefited from being with that man with that lifestyle, and now you're not with him anymore. So either you need to grind and get it yourself, or you need to go back to being used to the lifestyle that you were living. And so that's one thing that I feel. The other thing is when it comes to the kid, um, this whole thing with when it comes to money, I personally don't understand why American court systems will give the children to the mother simply for the fact that she's the mother, whereas the father of the children usually are in a much better position to take care of those children. They typically have like somewhere stable to stay. They have somewhere to work. They have the means to provide for these children, but yet they go with the mother who's demanding, child support increases only because it's just like, well, he's making more money now, so he should pay me more money for child support. No, I don't necessarily agree with that.
See, the thing with spousal support, you're paying to support the spouse. The thing with child support, you're paying to support the children.
Right.
It's a different. Now, if you get $50,000 a year for one child, that's a whole career for a lot of people.
A lot of
A lot of
folks.
people.
Yeah.
That's making more than almost half of the American population that's old enough to work. So you're telling me you need $50,000 to buy school supplies, clothing, feed the child. People say, "Oh, but she's paying rent and putting a roof over her."
She has to do that
She
anyway
has
for
to do that
herself.
anyway. Is $50,000 required? Oh, she has to put gas in the car to take the child from this place to that place. Okay, it's $50,000 worth of places. Well, the child wants to go to private school. That's a choice the mother made.
I mean, but see, the private school, I feel like
If
when
it
it
was,
comes to the choice of school, and this is what I'm gonna say because more weight is given to the custodial parent, usually a mother, than the non-custodial parent. So whenever a choice like where to go to school and activities that the kids are put into and things like of that nature, if say like the case in the school, you say private school, 'cause private school you have to pay for it. It's not cheap depending on where you live, especially. So in a case like that, that's a decision that both I feel like the mother and the father should talk about and discuss, because if she cannot afford to send that child to private school on her own, and it's a choice or preference of hers, like, don't send your child to private school because you're like, well, he'll have a better chance there, sure. But if you can't afford it, but yet you turn around and demand the father, well, he needs to pay for it, then um no, ma'am, I'm sorry. Because yes, child support comes in, but child support is for the basic necessities of the child, maybe a little bit more, medical, all that other stuff or whatever, but it's not for your preferences. And
yes.
so many people love to say that, the way of living and this and that, and you need to do more, da da da. Honestly, it's all kind of like
Selfish.
selfish. Yeah, that's the word, selfish.
So I just like to add this: if they discussed private school before the child was previously in private school, during the time where you guys are separating, that's something that should be discussed. And as a father, my child, I'm going to send my child to the private school if I can afford it. I do have, you do have, but I don't want to pay that directly to you. I would rather pay it directly to the school.
So I have another point to make, just real quick. Primarily because what you said about the private being in private school, prior to the separation, brought up something that I saw. Um, it was I don't remember if it was a reel or a video, TikTok. I have no idea. It was something I saw a while back. But long story short, the whole thing of it was um, a mother and a father were separating. The child was already in private school. And then during the separation, the mother wanted to continue to have the child in private school. However, the tuition was like $40,000 a year, and the father was the one that was supposed to cover the bill. She was demanding it of him. And personally, he was like, well, you know what? Like, he can go to the public school that's near where you live. It's not a bad school. You know, he will be fine. And she was absolutely livid. And my whole thing with that is just, I understand her point of trying to like make the child be a little bit more comfortable than the way that things were, you know, because divorces do affect the children just as much as it affects the people that are getting divorced. So there was another TikTok video that went viral not too long ago with a divorce attorney, I believe it was, when she was saying the highest or the worst type of women to marry based on their occupation. And I think she did one for men too, but I remember the one for women. And the top three or the top two for sure was like a
Teachers,
nurse. Was it teacher?
teachers, nurse,
Teacher, nurse, and then the worst one
lawyer.
was homework, a homemaker.
I thought it was lawyer.
No, a homemaker. And the reason why she said that was because, especially as women, because financial security is so important to us. Um, when you go through a divorce and you have been a stay-at-home mom for, you know, however many years, you literally have no way to really support yourself. You have to figure out how to get back into the market and do this and do that. And so those divorces from those men tend to be very, very combative, and also kind of like, you know, she's trying to gain the most advantages that she can because she's relied on her husband for so long, and everything that she's ever had basically for the time that she was a stay-at-home mom is being stripped away from her. And I understand that that's a very difficult thing to be a position to be in. And most women, we love to say, hey, you know, if a man want to come to take care of me, like, you know, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom. But on the other side of that, you know, things don't work out and now you're having to figure out life again because you guys are separating. Now that's a whole nother ball game. And so that's one of the things that folks don't really think about.
So in that case, if she's been at home with the kids and he's provided a lifestyle, he should be responsible for at least. I would give her 3 to 6 months to try to get a resume together and get a job. There's so many different opportunities where you do not have to have specialized skills. You may not want to go work in fast food, but if it means taking care of your kids, you got to do what you got to do. Heck, you might want to be a Lyft driver, Uber driver, go deliver some food. You might even go work in the warehouse, or worst case scenario, you go work for one of those companies that do cleaning and maid services, something that utilizes your skills that you already have. It's not ideal, but until you build yourself up and make yourself more marketable, what do you have? Even if you have a degree, you haven't been in that field for so long that it, companies may not be able to justify giving you something more than an entry level position. So you need to take that
Mm-hmm.
and then prove yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, with all of this being said, you guys definitely leave a comment and let us know what you think. Are women entitled to 50% of a man's asset upon divorce, or should it be based on a percentage? Let us know in the comments what you think.